Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Sunday. I hope you had an amazing weekend. I just wanted to come to you with a message to help you set up your week to start to move a little bit closer to your goals every single day. I listened to a podcast today. Actually, I listened to it twice. From a guy named Trevor Moawad, who was a mental performance coach and unfortunately recently passed away. But he had this message on Ed Mylett podcast a while ago, and I would highly recommend you listen to. And he talked about neutral thinking. He talked about performance and how that works. You see, Trevor had worked with Russell Wilson and the University of Alabama football team and the University of Georgia, the Los Angeles Angels, and so many more, just to name a few. And he talked through these ideas of, we often hear people talk, well, be positive. And I say that message a lot. Be positive. Think positive things. Positive in, positive out. And I think that there are benefits to that. But he talked through the thought process, and it was really intriguing, and I wanted to share this with you. As we know, negative thinking is detrimental. Right? We don't want to have negative thoughts going through our head. If we have negative thinking, things are going to eventually not go well, probably. But what was worse than negative thinking was actually speaking negative words, actually saying the things that were in your head out loud. If you say those things out loud, they will come true at a factor of 7 to 10 times more likely than if you just left them in your head. And he actually gave an illustration of this. One of the things that he talked about was Bill Buckner in 1986. Bill Buckner was the first baseman for the Boston Red Sox. They were 1 out away from winning the World Series against the New York Mets. And Mookie Wilson hits this ground ball. It's a little dribbler down the line, and it went right through Bill Buckner's legs. Bill Buckner was an all-star 10 times. He was a Gold Glove winner. He was a tremendous first baseman. But there was an interview that Bill Buckner had given at one point, and he said, of all the things, and I'm paraphrasing, but of all the things that were positive that he could do and aspire to and achieve, he said the one thing that he feared more than anything else was a ground ball that would go right through his legs that would cost his team the game. You see, Bill Buckner missed the ground ball. There's a physical component to it. He actually missed it. But by speaking those words out and having that negative thought process, there is a substantially higher likelihood that he was going to miss that ground ball when it was coming to him. It's an incredible story. It's actually really sad. But as Trevor talked through it, one of the things that he looked at with positive thinking was sometimes it's too hard for people to get there. Your life may be a challenge in some way. Your kids may be struggling. You may be struggling at work. You may be struggling physically, not happy with where you're at. And it's difficult for someone to just say, hey, well, think positive. Be positive. Get excited. Life's good. Blah, 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 right? And instead, he used this image of a car. And it was, look, if you're going in reverse, and that's not the way you want to go, the only way to start going that way is to stop going in reverse, and you have to go through neutral. And this idea of neutral thinking actually allows us to start moving realistically towards where we want to go. And I had a couple notes that I wanted to read, and these are just quotes that I took from it. It says, the past is real. The past is real, but it's not predictive. What you do next determines your future, not how you feel. And I thought that was incredible. He illustrated another story about a junior in high school from Los Angeles, and this kid was going down a bad path. He was skipping school. He was hanging out with the wrong crowd, drugs, just not doing what he should do. But he had told his mom that he would take the SAT. As you know, the SAT is ranked out of 1,600 as the highest score. And so he goes to take the SAT. Well, he took it in May, got his results in June, and the results were he got a 1480. And he said, his mom called him out and said, "Did you cheat?" And he said, "I tried to, but I couldn't because the desks were too far apart." So the kid scores a 1480. So the kid realizes all of a sudden, he's like, man, if I got a 1480, maybe I'm pretty smart. I should start going to school. Maybe I should do something with it. And so then he started going to school his senior year. And everyone started to look at him a little bit differently. He started studying, he started doing the homework, he started getting great grades. And then, consequently, because of the things that he was doing and the actions that he was taking, he was putting himself on a higher pedestal, moving up. He no longer hung out with the people that were keeping him down and were pushing him into negative thought process. Not only did he graduate high school, he went to junior college, he went to four-year college, and then he graduated from Princeton and became a successful entrepreneur owning his own business. What's incredible about this story about the kid earning a 1480 was he actually didn't earn a 1480. See, he got a letter that they were doing checks. This was a number of years later. They were doing checks, quality checks on where they were sending out the right scores to the people taking the SATs. And they had actually sent 13 people that year, and he was one of them, the wrong SAT score. He actually only scored a 740. Half. He actually scored half. What's incredible about this is the 1480 didn't save him. The 1480 didn't make him better, help him go to college and all that stuff. The actions he took after he got that score is what got him into college and what propelled him on to success in the future. See, it's what you do next that determines your success and where you go. It's an incredible, incredible story. And so this idea of neutral thinking, he talked about, it came down to this and said, well, what's an example? And he said, just find a way to keep going. A statement would be, through adversity, I take a setback as temporary, but I bounce back quickly. Setbacks are real, things happen, you're gonna get in a slump, you're gonna make mistakes, things will happen. But the way you think about it and the way you start to process it and understand where you're at and then start taking steps towards success is actually how you start to make progress. It's incredible. It's so simple. The last thing he said that was just super impactful to me was that people who are average do average people things. And people who are successful do successful people things. So we talk about habits and patterns and how you set up your life and structure it. And when we go through these things, I sometimes think in my head like, man, I've said this so many times, but are you doing average people things or are you doing successful people things? Are you setting yourself up to achieve your maximum potential? Do you go to bed at a certain time? Do you know when you're gonna wake up? When are you gonna work out? What are you gonna eat? Are you setting up habits and patterns? Are you reading? Are you learning? Are you growing? Are you doing these things on a daily basis? See, it's not about perfection. It's not about nailing it 100% of the time, but it is about continuing to move forward, figuring out what is working, what's not working, making adaptations in your schedule and in your habits, and then continuing to move forward. That's really it. Find a way to keep moving forward. And if you can do that, you're ultimately going to become the best version of yourself. And that's really what we want to do. So today, I want you to set up your week. I want you to be prepared to know when you're going to work out, what you're going to eat, when you're going to go to bed, when you're going to wake up. I want you to set yourself up for success with your habits and your patterns and do that. And then you need to figure out, what do I need to adjust to my schedule to get a little bit better? What's working, what's not? And find a way to keep moving forward. That's how we're going to ultimately be successful. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that sets up your week here on this Sunday. Don't forget, as always, to be great today. See ya.